we were in the dressing room at half-time, and it was Roy Simmons' last game. He said, can I just have a quick word to the boys before you go back out? Begging us not to lose this game, because I don't want my last game to be remembered like this. We're all in tears. We're all bawling our eyes out. Then we scored about 10 minutes into the second half, and the touch judge come on with his flag up. I said to the touch judge, you're a cheat.
Is this what you got sin bin for?
On a sporting field, when you do that after being beaten the year before in the same circumstances, but this time you turn the tables, it's so rewarding. It was such a relief.
1990. You lose a grand final to the red hot Canberra. Like I was going through. As I said, I'm not a rugby league guru, but I was looking at the names, and Mal Meninga's running around, Laurie Daly's running around, and like these are household names even in a non-NRL state. You lose that 18-14. So the Panthers never won a title at this point, have they? They
no.
haven't won. So what is it like? The obvious question before we get to what it's like winning one. What's it like walking off when you've lost a grand final?
Well, there was a build-up to that, Howie, because we had this team that, once in 1988 we had players like Peter Kelly and Chris Mortimer come from the Bulldogs who had been ultra successful in the 80s, and they were at the end of their career, but just them coming to our club with so many local juniors, Brandys and the Johnny Cartwrights and the Brad Fittlers and the Mark Geyers and the Barry Walkers and the Cole Bentleys, all these kids who have been local juniors, they kind of taught us how to be tough and how to be respected. So in 1990, when we made the grand final, we had ticker tape parades, we had civic receptions.
Because you made the grand final.
Because we made the grand final.
Right, so it was party time just making it.
It was party time making it. So we had shirts made up, myself and John Cartwright, called the Terror Twins. We were back, second rowers, and and then all of a sudden we're at a big hotel in the city called the Hyatt for the grand final breakfast, and Phil Gould was our coach, and he said to us, okay, boys, go back to your rooms, have a couple of beers, but, like we usually do on a Wednesday night, just keep it, we've got a game on Sunday and we've got the breakfast in the morning, so be cool. Well, about 10 of us said, whose room are we going to? Like, come on, we're in the city. Like, we don't come in here that often.
The boys from Penrith are ready to cut loose.
We were ready to cut loose. 4 days out from the game, 5 days out from the game. Come on, we've got plenty of time to recover. So in the end, there was about 12 of us in this one room, and we were ordering seafood buffets and Dom Perignon. I couldn't even say it back then. I just said, what's this Dom stuff? They said, it's $1,000 a bottle. Let's get 3. so we had music on. And it was just a party atmosphere. Then about 2 in the morning it was, and there was a knock on the door, and we got one of our players, Paul Smith. We said, Smitty, see who that is? This one must be like, has anyone order something? Is there more, room service? And Smitty went over to that little, little peephole and said, it's Gus,
the coach.
You've never seen 12 grown men stop and be so shit scared and jump over lounges and hide behind plants. And I said, don't let him in. He goes, he keeps knocking. So all of a sudden he's come in, he's walked in, he's seen all this food, all this drink, seen blokes hiding behind curtains. I was hiding behind a lamp like side-on thinking that he can't see me. He goes, really?
Come on.
Really? He goes, I'll leave you with this, boys. You've just lost the grand final.
Oh, wow.
And we went, what? Well, you can't say that before a game, Gus. What are you talking about, mate? Give us a chance. But history will tell you he was right, because we didn't give the respect that the grand final deserved. We were happy just to make it. So I got told before that game that there was the Kangaroo Tour going. That's for those that don't know what the Kangaroo Tour is or was. It was basically 3 months in Europe. You do 8 weeks in England playing against all them teams over there while you have 3 test matches against the Poms, and then you'd spend a month on the way back in France. You'd have 3 test matches against France, and it was just 3 months of fun. And before the grand final, I got told that there was one spot left. And I got told it was out of me and Gary Coyne, who was a second rower for Canberra. So basically whoever won the grand final, they were on the plane. And so after we got beaten, I thought, well, there goes my chance of making the Kangaroo Tour. And then we got back to the club and we were draining our sorrows. And our CEO was on the microphone over the whole club and said, just want to make an announcement. We have 4 players who are going on the Kangaroo Tour. And when he read them out, and my name was on it, I went, whoa. Wow. So, yeah, party time on that because we were in the Emus, second team. So we'd play Wednesday nights. The first team would play Sundays. So you'd basically have 4 or 5 days on the drink. And it was just a really good learning curve because we could see these days every game is televised and examined to the nth degree. But sometimes back in the day, back in the 90s and late 80s, you would hear about this kid in Canberra, or you'd hear about this kid in Penrith, or you'd hear about this kid in Brisbane, but you'd only see him once every month because not every game was televised. They'd have one game on a Sunday at 4 p.m. and they'd have one game on the ABC at 3 p.m. every weekend. So there's only 2 games televised. So if you weren't one of them teams getting televised, you wouldn't know what this kid's about. Or you watch a bit of video on them. But so when you go on a kangaroo tour with these guys, all the walls break down. You see Steve Roach and Paul Sirenin and Glenn Lazarus and Bradley Clyde and Laurie Daly and Ricky Stewart. They all miss their family like you do.
Yeah.
And they all get sad after training because they're homesick like you do. So all of a sudden, coming back from that tour, we changed our jerseys at Penrith while we were away, the 4 of us. We went from the Chocolate Soldiers to they called us the Licorice All Sorts. We went to this really smick looking black and what it is today.
Yes. And
we kind of had this attitude that us 4 in particular, we told the rest of our teammates, we said, you know what? They're not that scary. Like we've seen it firsthand. It's like, let's take it to them. And we did. And we lost 4 games all year and we got to the grand final and we did exactly the opposite of what we did the year before. Not many people I consider myself very, very, very lucky because not many sports people get the chance to atone 12 months later. And we did. We had the opportunity to atone 12 months later against the same team, at the same venue, at halftime was the same score, 12-6. They were
down, 12-6 down.
Yep, we were down. And then all of a sudden, we were in the dressing room at halftime, and it was Roy Simmons' last game, and he asked Brandy, who was captain, and Phil Gould, who was coach, he said, can I just have a quick word to the boys before we go back out? And after he had his 30, 40-second begging us not to lose this game because I don't want my last game to be remembered like this. We're all in tears. We're all bawling our eyes out. We ran back down, wiping. If you watch Vision, you can see us wiping our eyes as we're walking down back to the race. And I was so pumped up that then we scored about 10 minutes into the second half, and the touch judge came on with his flag up and said that our player had hit the bloke in the face, but on replay you could see that he dislodged the ball. Didn't go near his face. So our player picked it up, scored, try. So when they disallowed a try, I said to the touch judge, I said, you're a cheat. Or I said, an effing cheat.
Is this what you got sin bin for? Because this is what I want to ask you because I watched the highlights last night.
Yes. This is what I got sin bin for.
Right. So you get for calling the ref a cheat.
I said, yeah, an effing cheat. Like I was into him. I said, you don't want us to win, you fucking cheat. And Bill Harrigan, the referee, he called me out and said, you call him a cheat? I said, well, mate, that was a try. He said, go. And I thought I got sent off in a grand final. I thought, no.
Was it 10 minutes?
He goes, 10 minutes.
Sin bin. Okay.
But I thought I was gone for the game, for dissent. So 10 minutes, I walked up the race. As I was walking up, I could hear and feel footsteps behind me, and it was Gus Gould, our coach. He said, sit in here now, and you've got 2 things to do. You can feel sorry for yourself and, blah, 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 blame it on the world because you've done the wrong thing. Or you can go out there and help us win because they're going to hold them. They're going to hold these guys to 12-6 for you to come out and help us win this comp. I said, yep, sweet. So it felt like an hour in there. I've come down the race. I looked at the score. There's still 28 minutes to go on the clock. No, there wasn't. It was about 18, I think. Because I got sin bin about the 28th minute mark, so about 80 minutes to go on the clock. And as soon as I come on, Howie, there was this move that we used to practice at training called North Sydney, and I wasn't in it. I was nowhere near. I was just like a decoy on the blind. And all of a sudden, I'm in the middle of this move called North Sydney, and I got the ball after just coming on for the second time, my second run after being on the sin bin, and I got it, and all of a sudden I heard Brad Fittler go, MG. So I flicked the ball around the back to him.
Is this where you sort of flicked it around your back?
Yeah.
Oh, sharp work.
I wasn't even involved in that play. It's the best ball it's the best ball I've thrown in my life. I've never thrown a ball like it. I'll never throw a ball after it. It was just it was something was in the air that we had to, it was our turn because that stuck to Brad Fittler's hand. He gave the Brad Izzard, scored on the post, 12-all. We're in this game up to our eyeballs. So then, about another 5 minutes later, Greg Alexander, Brandy's kicked the field goal. We're up 13-12, and we're hammering their line. We've got the momentum. About 4 minutes to go on the clock, I saw the late great Scotty Gale from the Raiders. He had the ball, and we had a line dropout coming our way. He's put a little short dropout in, and I thought, you know what? Get to this ball and dive on it because it's coming your way. Don't fuck it up, man. Come on.
You've come in like a freaking express train.
I realised, Howie, that if I time this run right, it's going to bounce right in my chest. And it did. And I thought I was going to score a try in the grand final, but Mal Meninga was back there loitering, the bastard. Tackled me, and then I heard MG. And it was Roy Simmons.
In his last game, club legend.
Last ever game. And he went in the corner, and I've got goosebumps now thinking about it. It's 32 years ago, but it's still so vivid in my mind. When he's put that ball down the corner, I screamed so loud, like with euphoria, that I fractured my larynx in my, like it just exploded. Then for the next 2 weeks, I couldn't talk. But it was that euphoria that I've never felt. I felt once in my life, and that was it. That was like when you're 5. I've got 5 kids, as I said.
Yeah.
Every one of their birth is euphoric in a different way.
Yes.
But on a sporting field, when you do that after being beaten the year before in the same circumstances, but this time you turn the tables, it's so rewarding. It was such a relief. And even people today, who talk about that first grand final, they said, you know what, it was just, it put Penrith on the map finally. And we partied like it was New Year's Eve every day for about 3 weeks.